Somebody wrote in a question that I thought I would talk about. Okay, so this person's, was talking about a situation in which he got angry, and he said, I found through my thoughts and feelings that the only reason and cause for my anger at the situation was the fact that I had wanted the situation to be different than it was. And the situation was opposed to what I wanted, the opposite of what I wanted, which made the scene the foundation for anger. I found that wanting played a part in all afflictive mental states. When an afflicted mind thinks that something is pleasurable, it is because the mind's wanting is matched by the external situation. When an afflicted mind thinks something is undesirable or detestable, it is because the mind's wanting is not matched, or sometimes is completely the opposite. And the mental is totally the opposite, and his mental desirable situation is threatened by the external situation, which is not at all desirable. Okay, so I thought that this wanting is subdued and let go of. I thought if this wanting is subdued and let go of, neither worldly pleasure nor worldly suffering or dissatisfaction can be experienced by the mind, for there would be no expectations in the mind to be fulfilled and nothing to be threatened. I later thought that this fits in very nicely with the second noble truth, that desire and ignorance are the causes of suffering. What are your ideas about this? I'm pretty excited by this little discovery. Huh? Yeah, it's a huge discovery, isn't it? Because usually we go through life thinking that the problem, why are we dissatisfied? Why are we unhappy? Why are we angry? It's because of the external situation, when it's really because of our mind. And also to discover that behind anger, there lies desire, or craving, or attachment, okay? And that the mind has an idea of what it wants, so that's expectation, which is, a product of craving in that kind of way. And we're wanting something, the mind's primed, it has its idea, if I only had this, then I'd be happy, okay? And so then we go after whatever we want, trampling on whoever gets in our way. And if somebody gets in our way and we can't trample on them, then we get angry. Yeah. And so the whole root of this whole thing is the attachment in our mind. Yeah. Because it's the attachment that creates the expectation. It's the attachment that is the wanting, from something from outside. And it's the attachment that brings on the anger of not getting what we want or getting what we don't want. Okay? So the idea is if we eliminate the attachment, then there's no expectation, then there's no, craving, so there's no disappointment, there's no frustration, there's no anger. Yeah? So that's certainly very true. Now the thing is, okay, we have to refine that a bit, because sometimes people at the beginning then go to the extreme and think that wanting anything is attachment. And they get the idea, if you're going to be a good Buddhist practitioner, you don't want anything. So you sit there like a bump on a log. I don't want anything. I'm not asking for anything. That's not the image that you see, that's not what Kuan Yin looks like, what Manjushri looks like, what, Vajrasattva looks like. None of the bodhisattvas look like that. None of the arhats look like that. Okay? So the thing that's wrong with that is that people are confusing. The word wanting or the word desiring can have different kinds of objects. Yeah, and it can have a different feeling behind it. When we are craving pleasure, and there's this thing of, I've got to have it, this external thing is going to make me happy, then that's definitely attachment and craving, and the kind of desire that leads to, problems, yeah. But that doesn't mean that all desire, because the English word desire has multiple meanings, and not all of them fit the specific Pali and Sanskrit word, okay? Because desire in English can also mean you desire something that's worthwhile. I desire to develop love and compassion, equanimity and joy. I desire to make my life meaningful. I want to help others. I want to gain knowledge. I want to go to this Dharma teaching, or I want to go to a retreat. This kind of wanting and desiring, don't think you get rid of that in order to practice Dharma. No, that's the kind of thing that you want to increase because you're putting your priorities in a good direction, okay? So being a practitioner does not mean you have no priorities. No, you do have priorities, okay? Also, being a practitioner does not mean you have no preferences. You can have a preference, yeah? It's just the thing, you use your wisdom to discriminate what the preference is. It's getting attached to our preferences. That is the problem, okay? It's getting attached to our priorities. That's the problem. So we have to be very clear, otherwise really people just get the totally wrong idea of a Buddhist practitioner and think, you're just a bump in a log. That, and that's the idea you get. You just sit there all day. I'm detached. I mean, come on. The Buddha didn't look like that. The Buddha didn't act like that. The Buddha was there benefiting sentient beings. He said things clear. He had priorities. He had preferences. He wanted certain things. He desired certain things. But none of that was samsaric desiring and wanting. Okay? So it's the stuff with the attachment, with the stickiness, where our mind is thinking, I've got to have that. And that external thing is the cause of my happiness. That's where the difficulty comes in. Okay? Well, that craving is that reaction. You have a pleasant feeling, and then we always respond with craving. I want more and better. And that's the place in the 12 links where you can cut it either between feeling and craving or between ignorance and karmic formations. Yeah. Yeah. And that's by stopping the afflicted mental state.